Hello and welcome to the whole Bidoof. Today we're going to be looking at the top 10 Pokemon that should not be in Sword and Shield. We've already looked at the top 10 Pokemon that should be in Sword and Shield, so if you missed that video, go and check it out. But enough about that. Today we're looking at 10 Pokemon that must not be in Sword and Shield at all. There is no good reason for any one of these Pokemon to be in the game whatsoever. These decisions that I've made, which Pokemon are on this list, are based off of the Pokemon's lack of connection to the UK and hence the Galar region, as well as other factors that I have deemed important enough to exclude them from the game. Now let's start off with number 10 on our list. And number 10 is Ursaring. So Ursaring's a bear, a big, scary bear, and that is why it can't be in Sword and Shield. There are not any bears in the UK, so there should not be any bears in the Galar region, which is based off of the UK. And do you know why there aren't any bears in the UK? Because if there were, then they would eat all the sheep, and we don't want huge Ursarings going around eating all the cute little Wooloo, do we? Next up, number 9 is Camerupt. The UK has many different terrains: open fields, beaches, forests, mountains, lakes. You know what it doesn't have though? Volcanoes. And Camerupt looks like a volcano. How do you expect a Camerupt to survive in the wild if its only form of defense is ruined? Camerupt are only able to evade their natural predators by using their skills of camouflage. Camerupt camouflages as a volcano so that they can't be spotted and hunted down. How do you expect to camouflage as a volcano when there are not any other volcanoes? They would be spotted immediately, so they can't be in these games. In the number 8 spot, we have Empoleon. Empoleon is an emperor penguin. Does anyone see anything wrong with that? An emperor penguin. The UK doesn't have and never has had an emperor. You know who did have an emperor though? The Romans. The Roman Empire had an emperor, and Romans dominated much of Europe when they were in power. But one place that the Romans were never able to take over was Great Britain, because it is so great. The mighty British Empire fought back and won, so there was absolutely zero impact from the Roman Empire. Henceforth, Empoleon should not be in Sword and Shield. Number 7 is Nidoking. Nidoking represents a mighty king who will protect his kingdom and his people from all harm, and should lead them to eternal glory. In England though, we don't have a king. We have a queen, a mighty queen, who protects her kingdom and her people from all harm and should lead us to eternal glory. Yeah, so while we should have Nidoking in Sword and Shield, there should be no Nidoking. Number 6 is Lucario. Lucario is inspired by the Egyptian god Anubis. Like many Egyptian gods, Anubis has the body of a human and the head of an animal. Anubis' head, though, was a jackal. What is a jackal, you may be asking? The answer is, I don't know. I think it looks a little bit like Lucario, though. Anyway, Anubis was the god of the dead, or something, which explains Lucario's fighting type, since of course, ghosts are immune to the god of the dead. Why shouldn't Lucario be in Sword and Shield, though? It's an Egyptian god, not an English god. So it's got to go. Number 5 is Arachnid. Arachnid is a spider, as you can see. That is why it's a bug type. Its name actually shows its typing quite well. It is the word arachnid, which means spider, with the word aqua in the middle of it, which means water. So the thing about spiders is that I don't really like them. Okay, I admit it, I'm scared of spiders. so I don't want to encounter giant ones as I'm roaming the Galar region. And yes, I know that Ariados and Garvantula are also based off of spiders, but they each only have 4 legs. Technically, they aren't real spiders, so they don't count. Next up is number 4, Remoraid. Remoraid is a fish, and if you watch my video on the top 10 Pokemon that should be in Sword and Shield, you should remember Magikarp was on that list, because it was a fish, and hence it was needed for fish and chips. But Remoraid is a very different fish with a big problem. It looks slightly like a gun. There are multiple reasons why this gun fish should not be allowed in these games. First of all, it's called Sword and Shield. A gun involved in that would be totally unfair. The gun is way too overpowered. Also, you have to remember that the Galar region is based off of the UK, and the UK has very strict gun laws. Not even the police carry guns. So it is unrealistic for this fish that looks a little bit like a gun to be in these games. Number 3 is Sobble. Sobble is a really sad Pokemon. It has the word sob in its name, as in crying. Just looking at this Pokemon makes me feel sad too. I don't want to be sad when playing these games. They're supposed to be fun and make you happy. Sobble is just too sad, so it should not be in Sword and Shield. Number 2 is Bibarel. Bibarel is an abomination. It is an absolutely atrocious Pokemon that has no reason to exist. Bidoof is an absolutely perfect Pokemon. It doesn't need an evolution, and especially not this piece of trash. You would have to be clinically insane or a legitimate psychopath to evolve a Bidoof into Bibarel. So while Bidoof must be in Sword and Shield, there is no way that Bibarel should. And finally, the number 1 Pokemon that should not be in Sword and Shield is Pikachu. I'm not sure if anyone else has noticed this, but Pikachu has been in quite a few Pokemon games, like a surprisingly high amount of them. Not even that, but when it comes to Pokemon merchandise, there is a disproportionate amount of Pikachu merchandise compared to other Pokemon. It's subtle, but if you pay attention closer, you might notice. This slight favoritism towards Pikachu, and I feel like it's unfair towards all the other Pokemon. So I think Pikachu should sit this one out and give someone else to have a chance in Pokemon Sword and Shield. And that's our list. Feel free to tell me in the comments what Pokemon you think should not be in Sword and Shield, but don't bother telling me that any of the Pokemon on my list are wrong, because I am never wrong. Bye!